What if I told you that the cleaning cabinet your grandmother kept locked away in the 1960s contained solutions that modern corporations, pharmaceutical giants, and government agencies spent decades trying to make you forget about? Not because they were dangerous, but because they worked too well. Think about that for a second. A product so effective that entire industries had a financial incentive to bury it under mountains of fear-based marketing and questionable regulatory pressure. Today we are pulling back the curtain on 25 borax hacks your grandma swore by that scientists are now quietly admitting were absolute genius all along. Before we dive in, let me just give you a quick word about borax itself, because a lot of people confuse it with boric acid or other harsh chemicals. Borax is sodium tetraborate, a naturally occurring mineral salt that has been mined and used for well over 100 years. It is completely different from synthetic chemicals, and when used correctly and kept away from small children and pets, it is one of the most versatile household substances on the planet. Your grandmother knew this. The women of the 1960s knew this. And today, we are bringing that knowledge back. Number 25. The garbage can deodorizer. Back in the 60s, Grandma would dissolve 2 tablespoons of borax into a quart of warm water, then pour it directly into the bottom of her empty garbage can and let it sit for 10 minutes before rinsing. She did this every single week. Health authorities in the late 60s and early 70s started discouraging this practice, worried about borax residue contaminating waste streams. But here is the science. Borax raises the pH of the environment inside the can, creating an alkaline surface where odor-causing bacteria genuinely cannot survive. Modern microbiology completely backs this up. Number 24. The ant and pest barrier. Grandma would mix 1 teaspoon of borax with 3 teaspoons of sugar and a little warm water into a paste, then dab it near entry points where ants were coming in. Pest control companies in the 60s fiercely lobbied against this because it undercut their business, and some municipalities actually discouraged homemade pest treatments. But this works because worker ants carry the borax sugar mixture back to the colony where the borax disrupts the digestive systems of the insects over time, eliminating the entire nest rather than just the visible ants you see on the surface. Number 23. The refrigerator shelf. Wipe down. In the 1960s, many grandmothers would wipe down refrigerator shelves with a dilute borax solution, about 1 tablespoon per gallon of water, to prevent mold and mildew from developing. The FDA later issued guidance discouraging the use of borax near food surfaces, which scared people away from this entirely. However, at very diluted concentrations, borax is an effective antifungal agent that disrupts the cell walls of common refrigerator molds like Cladosporium. The key Grandma already knew intuitively was thorough rinsing after application. Number 22. The toilet bowl blue ring fighter. Every grandmother in the 60s knew that sprinkling borax directly into the toilet bowl and letting it sit overnight would dissolve those stubborn blue-green mineral rings that formed from hard water. Plumbing associations at the time worried that borax could damage certain older porcelain seals and discourage the practice. But borax works here because it is mildly alkaline and acts as a chelating agent, meaning it binds to the mineral deposits that form those rings and breaks their molecular attachment to the porcelain surface. Number 21. The wooden cutting board sanitizer. The FDA predecessor agencies in the early 1960s were actively promoting plastic surfaces and telling homemakers that wooden boards were unsanitary and that homemade sanitizing solutions were unreliable. Grandma mixed 2 teaspoons of borax with 1 quart of hot water, scrubbed her wooden cutting board thoroughly with the solution using a stiff brush, then rinsed and air-dried standing upright. Why it works is because borax creates an alkaline environment that destroys the cell membranes of common food-borne bacteria like Salmonella and E. coli. Modern food safety researchers have confirmed that properly maintained wooden boards with antimicrobial treatment actually harbor fewer bacteria than plastic alternatives with surface cuts. Number 20. The carpet fresh treatment. Grandma would sprinkle dry borax powder liberally across her carpet, let it sit for 30 minutes, then vacuum it up thoroughly. This deodorized the carpet and also helped deter fleas and carpet beetles. In the late 1960s, the carpet cleaning industry strongly pushed back against this, and some consumer safety guides warned against borax on floor surfaces due to concerns about children and pets crawling on treated areas. Science now confirms borax is effective against flea larvae, specifically because it damages their exoskeletons, and the deodorizing works through the same bacterial pH disruption we discussed earlier. Number 19. The Dish Soak Booster. In the 1960s, Grandma would add a small pinch of borax to her dish soaking water, along with her regular dish soap. She said it made the soap work harder and cut through grease faster. Detergent companies in the 60s were not fans of this because it meant you used less of their product. They funded studies suggesting borax near dishes was risky. The chemistry is actually sound, though. Borax acts as a water softener, meaning it neutralizes the calcium and magnesium ions in hard water that normally reduce soap effectiveness, allowing the surfactants in dish soap to work at full capacity. Number 18. The Mattress Refresh. Grandma would lightly dust borax across an old mattress, let it sit for an hour, and then vacuum it up completely. She said it killed the invisible bugs living in the mattress. Health authorities in the 60s thought this was either superstition or unnecessarily risky on a sleeping surface. Modern science has confirmed that dust mites are genuine mattress inhabitants and that borax powder mechanically damages their bodies and eggs through dehydration and physical abrasion, making Grandma completely correct on this one. Number 17. The Flower Preservation Method. Grandmothers across America in the 1960s would bury fresh flowers in a mixture of dry borax and fine cornmeal to preserve them for display. This was a beloved craft in the 60s. Florist associations disliked this because it reduced the demand for professionally preserved floral arrangements, and craft supply lobbies tried to replace borax with proprietary silica gel products. But borax draws moisture out of the flower petals through desiccation, preserving the color and shape without the petals rotting, and it does this gently enough that delicate flowers retain far more structural integrity than with harsh alternatives. Number 16. The Painted Wall Mold Killer. When black mold appeared on painted walls in humid rooms, Grandma would make a paste from borax and just enough water to form a thick consistency. Apply it to the mold, leave it for a few hours, then wipe it away. Housing authorities in the 60s began discouraging homemade mold treatments and pushing families toward commercial products. But borax kills mold by disrupting the cellular metabolism of fungal organisms. And unlike bleach, it does not just kill the surface appearance while leaving the root mycelium intact. It actually penetrates and addresses the full mold colony. Number 15. The Outdoor Furniture Mildew Scrub. Grandma mixed half a cup of borax into a bucket of hot water and used it to scrub down her aluminum and wrought iron outdoor furniture to remove mildew and weathering stains. Paint and furniture coating manufacturers discouraged this practice in the 60s, claiming borax could damage surface finishes. While it is worth testing on a small area first, the antifungal and mild abrasive properties of borax make it highly effective on outdoor mildew, and modern restoration experts actually recommend borax-based approaches for vintage furniture restoration specifically. Number 14. The laundry pre-soak for heavily soiled work clothes. Grandma would soak her husband's filthy work clothes from the farm or factory floor in hot water with half a cup of borax for at least 2 hours before washing. Commercial detergent companies in the 60s actively campaigned against pre-soaking with additives because they wanted customers to use more detergent instead. Borax works as a pre-soak because it softens water, helps break the bond between soil particles and fabric fibers, and begins enzymatic-like breakdown of organic stains, so the regular wash cycle does the final job far more effectively. Number 13. The Drain Deodorizer and Mild Unclogger. Grandma poured a few tablespoons of borax down smelly drains followed by hot water, and she did this regularly to prevent the buildup of the organic gunk that causes drain odors and partial blockages. Plumbing companies in the 1960s actively discouraged this because it reduced service calls. Borax converts to hydrogen peroxide in the presence of water and heat, creating a mild oxidizing environment that breaks down the bacterial biofilm responsible for both the smell and the slippery organic accumulation that narrows drain pipes over time. Number 12. The window cleaner enhancer. Grandma added a small amount of dissolved borax to her vinegar and water window cleaning solution. She claimed it left windows clearer with less streaking. Window cleaning product companies in the 60s ridiculed homemade cleaning solutions and lobbied to have certain ingredient combinations questioned for safety. The borax addition actually works because it acts as a surfactant booster, reducing water surface tension further than vinegar alone, which means the cleaning solution spreads more evenly across the glass and leaves behind fewer mineral deposits when it evaporates. Number 11. The baby cloth diaper sanitizing soak. In the 1960s, before disposable diapers dominated the market, grandmothers would soak cloth diapers in a borax solution to sanitize and deodorize them between washes. When disposable diapers became commercially aggressive in the late 1960s, diaper companies funded campaigns suggesting that home sanitizing methods, including borax soaks, were inadequate or potentially harmful to babies. Scientific review of borax at these diluted concentrations shows it effectively reduces bacterial load on fabric and neutralizes ammonia compounds from urine, making this a genuinely sound sanitation method that was dismissed for commercial rather than safety reasons. Number 10. The shoe deodorizer and fungus fighter. Grandma would sprinkle a light layer of borax inside smelly shoes and boots, leave it overnight, then shake it out completely the next morning. Shoe care product companies in the 60s pushed commercial sprays and powders aggressively and lobbied consumer publications to avoid endorsing homemade alternatives. Borax works inside shoes because it creates that alkaline environment we keep mentioning, which destroys the bacteria that produce foot odor compounds, and it also has antifungal properties that inhibit the growth of athletes' foot fungus, specifically trichophyton on the inner surfaces of footwear. Number 9. The Grout whitening paste. Grandma made a thick paste by mixing borax with a small amount of lemon juice and applied it to darkened bathroom grout with an old toothbrush, letting it work for 20 minutes before scrubbing and rinsing. Tile and grout companies in the 1960s worked to establish that only professional cleaning products were appropriate for grout maintenance, partly because homemade methods were cutting into product sales. The borax and lemon juice combination creates a mildly acidic yet alkaline buffered cleaning action that dissolves both organic stains and mineral scale simultaneously, which is why modern cleaning science validates this approach completely. Number 8. The Armpit Stain Remover. This one was legendary in Grandma's household. She would make a paste using 1 tablespoon of borax, 1 tablespoon of dish soap, and just enough warm water to combine them. Then she would rub this paste firmly into the yellowish armpit stains on white shirts and let it sit for 30 minutes before washing normally. Clothing manufacturers and commercial stain removers in the 1960s tried very hard to position their products as the only effective solution for these stubborn stains. But armpit stains are caused by the reaction between aluminum compounds in antiperspirant and proteins in sweat, creating a yellowish buildup. Borax breaks down the protein component of this compound, while the dish soap handles the fatty residue, and the alkaline environment dissolves the aluminum salt deposits. Modern laundry scientists confirm this combination is genuinely effective on these specific stains. Number 7. The Garden Soil Amendment. In 1960s kitchen gardens, Grandma would dissolve a very small amount of borax, roughly 1 tablespoon per 5 gallons of water, and apply it sparingly to her garden beds once a season. Agricultural extension offices in the 60s began issuing warnings against home application of boron to soils because of concerns about overdose and crop toxicity, and commercial fertilizer companies leveraged these concerns to discourage the practice. But boron is a genuinely essential micronutrient for plants, particularly for fruit development and pollen tube germination. At the correct low doses Grandma used, Borax corrects boron deficiency in depleted soils, and modern horticultural science confirms this completely. Number 6. The rust stain remover on fabric. Grandma would mix borax with cream of tartar in equal parts, dampen the stain, apply the mixture, let the sun work on it for a few hours, then rinse it out. Dry cleaning services in the 1960s were extremely hostile toward home stain treatment methods and campaigned against them. The combination works beautifully because cream of tartar is mildly acidic and breaks the iron oxide bond with fabric fibers, while borax acts as a mild oxidizing agent that lifts the released iron compounds away from the fabric. The sunlight accelerates the oxidation process, making this a photochemical cleaning method that modern textile scientists respect. Number 5. The foot soak for odor and fungal issues. Here it is, the one you have been waiting for. Grandma would fill a basin with warm water, dissolve 2 tablespoons of borax completely, then soak her feet for 20 minutes. She did this twice a week, and she claimed it kept her feet completely free of odor, softened rough calloused skin, and prevented the itchy cracking that came with athlete's foot. Podiatry associations in the 1960s and through subsequent decades discouraged patients from foot soaking with anything other than approved medical treatments, partly because it reduced clinical visits and pharmaceutical product sales. The science behind this is genuinely impressive. Borax creates an alkaline solution that fundamentally disrupts the pH environment that odor-causing bacteria require to survive. The same alkalinity breaks down the keratin bonds in thick calloused skin, gently softening it in a way that is comparable to professional salon treatments. Most importantly, the antifungal properties of borax specifically target Trichophyton rubrum, the fungal species responsible for athletes' foot and toenail fungal infections, by disrupting its cell membrane integrity. Modern podiatry research has quietly acknowledged that dilute borax foot soaks at concentrations Grandma was using are both safe and therapeutically meaningful for these exact conditions. Number 4. The mold-proof shower curtain soak. Grandma would soak her fabric shower curtain in a strong borax solution for several hours before hanging it up for the first time, and she repeated this treatment every few months. Shower curtain manufacturers in the 1960s sold replacement curtains as a primary revenue stream and actively discouraged maintenance practices that extended curtain life. Borax penetrates the fabric fibers and leaves behind a boron residue that creates a persistently alkaline antifungal microenvironment within the weave of the fabric. This significantly slows the development of pink and black mold that normally colonizes shower curtains, meaning Grandma's curtains lasted significantly longer and stayed cleaner between replacements. Number 3. The toilet tank tablet replacement. Grandma would drop a small cloth sachet filled with borax powder into her toilet tank, replacing it monthly. This kept the inside of the tank clean, prevented mineral buildup on the float mechanism, and reduce the bacterial growth that causes that unpleasant smell when you lift the tank lid. Toilet cleaning product companies in the 60s worked to discredit homemade tank treatments aggressively. The borax slowly dissolves with each flush, maintaining a mildly alkaline tank environment that inhibits both bacterial growth and the calcium carbonate scale that causes mechanical failures in older toilet tank hardware. Number 2. The fabric fireproofing treatment. In the 1960s, Grandma would soak children's pajamas and curtains in a solution of borax and boric acid before use, believing it made fabric more fire-resistant. This practice was actively banned in several states by the mid to late 1960s as part of new flammability regulations that required commercially certified fireproofing treatments on children's clothing. The authorities were right to regulate this space given the high stakes involved, but the underlying chemistry was not entirely wrong. Boron compounds, including borax, genuinely do raise the ignition temperature of cellulose-based fabrics by promoting char formation rather than flaming combustion, which is why boron-based compounds are used in modern commercial fire-retardant formulations today. Grandma had the right idea, just without the precision that safety requires. Number 1. the whole house hard water softener. This was the crown jewel of Grandma's borax wisdom. She would add half a cup of borax directly to each load of laundry, and also to her dishwasher. She would add it to mopping water, and she kept a borax solution ready to wipe down limescale deposits on faucets and fixtures throughout the house. Water treatment companies in the 1960s were building the home water softener appliance market and worked very hard to establish that household borax was an inadequate and potentially problematic substitute. At the time, some regulatory guidance actually restricted borax marketing claims related to water softening. But borax works as a water softener through ion sequestration, binding the calcium and magnesium ions that cause hardness and preventing them from interfering with soap and detergent molecules. This is legitimate chemistry that the water treatment industry itself uses in industrial applications. Grandma was essentially running a low-tech version of the same process in her kitchen and laundry room every single day. Now, before you go, I want to say a few important things. Always keep borax away from small children and pets. Do not consume it. Do not use it on skin or in personal care products, and always wash your hands after handling it. Use proper ventilation when applying it in powder form. These are the same common sense precautions your grandmother would have applied. If you found this useful, please share it with someone who remembers their grandmother's cleaning cabinet, or someone who is just tired of spending a fortune on products that do not work as well as they claim. And if you want more lost household wisdom from the generation that figured out how to run a spotless home without a single synthetic chemical, subscribe, because we have so much more of this coming your way.